Like and subscribe for content like this. Now on to our topic. Have you ever asked yourself, how does border control impact migration and national security? In the ongoing closed-door negotiations over border reforms and migration funding, this question is more relevant than ever. Former President Donald Trump recently urged GOP legislators to avoid what he perceives a flawed deal with pro-migration Democrats. He's rallying behind House Speaker Mike Johnson's pro-American stance, underscoring the importance of taking a hard line on border control. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden's border deputies have allowed approximately 5 million economic migrants to cross the southern border. This has resulted in a significant shift in public attitudes, with many Americans now expressing concerns over mass migration. The negotiations between White House officials and GOP and Democratic senators have led to some compromise deals. But with both parties striving to meet their own objectives, the resolution is far from clear. With Trump's intervention, the pro-deal faction in the GOP may face increased resistance from the caucus, escalating the tension further. As we delve deeper into the intricacies of these negotiations, it's clear that achieving a balance between humanitarian concerns and national security is a complex. As the negotiations continue, the tension between the White House officials and GOP and Democratic senators remains palpable. In politics, compromise often drives progress, but what happens when the stakes are high and the parties involved are far apart on crucial issues? As the wheels of negotiations turn, compromise deals start to emerge. On one hand, we see the GOP negotiators showing flexibility, agreeing to let migrants quickly secure work permits. This move is aimed at sidestepping the contentious issue of housing economically disadvantaged migrants in city-funded shelters, a prospect that Democratic legislators are keen to avoid. Yet there remains a significant sticking point that hinders progress towards a consensus: the parole pathway. This issue has proven to be a thorny one, with negotiators on both sides of the aisle far from reaching an agreement. Then we have the intervention of former President Donald Trump, a move that adds another layer of complexity to the situation. Trump's support for House Speaker Mike Johnson and his call for GOP legislators to resist a flawed deal present a potential hurdle for those within the GOP favoring a compromise. The road to agreement seems fraught with challenges, as Trump's intervention complicates the dynamics within the GOP. What are the potential implications of these border control negotiations on the political landscape? Well, let's delve into that. Trump's support for House Speaker Mike Johnson is adding a new layer of complexity to the already delicate negotiation process. This backing could create obstacles for President Biden as he tries to secure agreement for concessions from his coalition of pro-migration business groups and pro-migration progressives. It's a tightrope walk, with the balance of power in the negotiations constantly shifting. Now let's look at it from the Democrats' perspective. They have been quick to point fingers at the GOP for Biden's perceived reluctance to guard the nation's borders. This blame game has potential repercussions for the public image of both parties. The Democrats are risking being seen as placing the blame elsewhere, while the Republicans must navigate the perception of being obstructionist. So, what does all this mean for the broader political environment? Well, it's not just about border control. These negotiations could reshape party dynamics, create new alliances and rivalries, and potentially influence the direction of future political battles. It's a high-stakes game, and the outcome is still uncertain. The implications of these negotiations extend beyond border control, affecting party dynamics and potentially influencing future political battles. So, what have we learned from these unfolding events? We've seen the ongoing negotiations over border control, with both Democrats and Republicans seeking to strike a balance that satisfies their respective political interests. The compromise deals have brought some agreement, but contentious issues like the parole pathway remain unresolved. Trump's intervention has stirred the pot, making it harder for certain factions to secure support. The implications of these developments are far-reaching, affecting not just the political landscape but also the lives of millions of migrants. As we continue to observe these developments, one thing remains clear. The issue of border control and migration continues to shape and reshape our national discourse and political landscape.